The OpenAI training set is still scraping right now, and the FTC can't stop it. Every hour, automated crawlers pull fresh text, images, and forum posts into a pipeline that never really asks permission twice. The Federal Trade Commission opened a formal investigation, issued demands, and got polished answers back. It's still running. Tonight, I'm showing you the crawler logs, the copyright complaints, and the loophole that makes deletion technically impossible. Officially, this is just web-scale pre-training. OpenAI calls its crawler GPT bot, and on paper it respects the internet's oldest courtesy, the robots. TXT file, a tiny text flag that tells automated bots, don't index this page. The company says the system only touches publicly available data, the same category search engines have crawled for decades. That's the story sold to regulators, to journalists, to Congress. Build smarter models, the pitch goes, by reading everything humanity has ever typed. No secret, no harm, just indexing the same way Google indexes a blog post. That's the official version. The audit trail tells a very different story, because researchers who fingerprinted the crawler's behavior found it hitting domains that had explicitly blocked it. They found chunks of pirated book archives, books 3, mirrors of shadow libraries, folded into training corpuses years after authors filed takedown notices. They found artists' portfolios, scraped pixel by pixel, feeding image generators the artists never consented to train. And they found something closer to home. ChatGPT conversations themselves, the ones typed by ordinary users on the free tier, retained and fed back into future training runs. Opt-out toggle buried 3 menus deep, default always set to yes, use my data. The company scrapes the internet, and then it scrapes you talking to it. And it's still running. The Federal Trade Commission noticed. In 2023, it opened a non-public investigation into OpenAI, sending a civil investigative demand. Dozens of pages of questions about data collection, retention, and the risk of consumer harm. Around the same time, Italy's data protection authority, the Garante, did something no US agency dared. It banned ChatGPT outright for weeks, citing exactly this: training data hoovered up without a lawful basis, no age verification, no way for ordinary people to know if their words were inside the model. OpenAI patched a privacy notice, added a form nobody uses, and the ban lifted. The FTC's probe went quiet. No public fine, no forced deletion. And here's the part nobody reported. The agency already knew the deeper problem before it ever opened the file. You cannot unring this bell with a settlement. Because here's the mechanism, and it's the part that makes every promise from every regulator worthless. When text gets scraped, it isn't stored as a document you can locate and erase. It's converted into billions of numerical weights, distributed across a neural network, blended with everything else the model has ever read. Your forum post from 2016 doesn't exist as a file anymore. It exists as a faint statistical fingerprint smeared across the entire model. There is no delete button for that. Researchers call it the alignment tax of scale. To remove one person's data with certainty, you'd have to retrain the entire model from zero, at a cost of tens of millions of dollars, and companies simply don't. Legally, this is the loophole. Data protection laws like the GDPR and CCPA were written for databases, rows and columns you can query and erase. Nobody wrote a law for a matrix of floating point numbers that used to be your sentence. Publicly available data sits in a gray zone the FTC's own consumer protection statute was never built to reach. So the crawling continues, the retraining continues, and every new model snapshot absorbs the same contested data all over again. The scraping the regulator investigated in 2023 never actually stopped. It just kept running underneath the settlement talks. So think about what that actually means for you. If you've ever posted a comment, a photo caption, a Reddit answer, a blog entry, anything indexed by a crawler with no gate, some version of it may already be baked into a model's weights permanently, with no registry telling you which one, and no mechanism to check. If you used ChatGPT's free tier and never found that opt-out toggle, your actual conversations, your questions, your half-finished drafts, may already be training the next version answering someone else's prompt right now. Delete your account tomorrow and none of it comes back out. The company that built it doesn't fully know where inside the weights your data lives either. That's the honest, uncomfortable truth buried under the audit trail. And it's still running. So who actually benefits from a system too diffused to audit and too expensive to unwind? A company whose valuation climbed past $100 billion, built partly on data it never fully licensed, protected by a regulator that opened a file and then let it go cold. If the agency meant to protect you already lost this fight before the investigation even closed, who exactly is deciding what your words are worth? And when, if ever, will you find out you were never asked?